Hello and welcome. I'm Cille, and this is Congruent Coo, a project about Cass the Coo and me, who are here to explore leftist thinking, deconstruct the myths of capitalism, and maybe even provide guidance for those looking for somewhere that aligns with their thoughts that can be difficult to articulate. We're here to learn as much as you are. Our beloved capitalism. Now, no system could be greater. No system is greater. We work in such a wonderful system, the best, the very best system. I could shout for joy at the top of my lungs for how much I love capitalism. Well, except, everything about it. Surely there are solutions that this great system has offered the world, and it's made the world better, right? This is the greatest time to be alive. You can be anything if you just believe in yourself and work hard enough. Capitalism drives innovation. Anything other than capitalism breeds laziness. Communism only works on paper. Socialism is evil and leads to dictatorships and authoritarian regimes. Blah, blah, blah. We've all heard this before. Well, a fun fact. Poverty is part of the system. It's created by it. Now, how can a system that is by all metrics the very best we have also leave so many people behind? Metrics, by the way, that are indeed measured by capitalists. So no bias there at all, right? All right, because it's really about keeping a wealthy class, those capitalists, above the rest of us dirty little peasants. Why, we should be grateful for the scum off of their boots. Poverty is part of the system. It's something that is needed. It's created and recreated. Under capitalism, we cannot rid the world of poverty because it's a key component of the system as a whole. Though, what is capitalism? I've said it enough times now that I wish it had no meaning. But here we go. Capitalism is a system of production. That's rather simple, right? There's, of course, capital, that's money, credit, machinery, stocks, all of that good stuff we all so desperately desire. And if we just keep trying, we too can make it big. We too can become the next rags to riches story. So we have all this stuff, the capital. Now, all this stuff is privately owned by people or groups of people. So the working class, the cogs in this machine, the exploitees, they sell their labor to the owner or owners of this means of production for a little slice of capital. For many people, this is a paycheck every 2 weeks. Great. Bread and butter. Except, well, the workers, they sell their labor to the owners of the means of production, who then take that and sell it in turn to cover costs of labor, the production and upkeep, and of course, their own profit. The higher the profit, the better the company. So says our great system. Of course, the owners of that means of production also control a lot of the elements of this working game. They control who gets hired, who gets fired. They control the working conditions. They control the technology. They control the production. They control how much that production is sold for. They even control how many greenbacks that sweet, sweet labor is worth. And you know what? They have leverage over the population. Why is that? Well, food, water, shelter, the basics to survival in our world. All of that costs money. Without money, you could very well die. At least lose your home, not have a stable supply of food, not have access to healthcare, generally have to give up most of life. So without selling your labor or whatever you have to offer, you lose. You lose. That's a big part in why wages haven't kept up with inflation. If you can keep wages low, your profit increases. And if everyone keeps their wages low, everyone benefits. Well, everyone with a top hat and a pocket watch or whatever they're wearing these days. See, the working class suffers heavily. What are you going to do? Get another job? Search for somebody else to sell your labor to so that you can have food to eat and a roof over your head and hopefully something more, but not always. And that magical person who will buy your labor at a supremely higher price, they exist. Everyone says they exist. Surely, just keep working. Just keep selling your labor, yourself, your soul. Sell it all. And eventually, someone will give you a slice of that good life. Surely. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, so your employer buys your labor and then turns around and makes a profit on it. Oftentimes, a good deal more than you sold it for. Psst, that's right. Profit is still in value of the worker's labor. But let's skip that for now. They now deal with competition for market shares. They refine their cost-cutting procedures. They invest in new techniques. And they always search to increase that profit as much as possible. That's just good business sense. The labor contests the wage-profit relation. Yearly raises might ring a bell. An employer will show you the value they place on you with small increases to your income, as long as that is within an acceptable amount to allow for good profit. Of course, the last piece of this is the state, who seeks to incentivize, regulate, and tax capital, of which the good capitalist will avoid with every breath. Systems are in place, such as raises to stocks to bypass taxes on the extra wealth. Death and taxes. For the rest of us, though. And it's a shame our taxes aren't well used. In simplified terms, that's the system as is. Workers sell their labor to those who repackage it and make a profit on it, while controlling everything that could be used to help the worker improve their situation. And the government collects taxes. And sometimes helps with small bits of regulation, like our very generous federal minimum wage. In 2021, what's that? Oh, right. In the US, to keep up with inflation, that minimum wage was raised to $7.25 in 2009, a whopping 70-cent increase from the previous minimum wage. Also, let's not forget that tipped employees can legally be paid $2.13 an hour in direct wages from their employer, a figure that hasn't changed in over 30 years. The government. Clearly working as intended here. Hey, side note here. A fun bit of cud for you to chew on. If the minimum wage matched the production index increases, we'd be about $25 an hour. The delicious taste of capitalism. It's okay though, because under this economic system, we push to maintain an unemployed population. You won't be worrying about minimum wages and selling your labor when you can't find a job. See, in the pursuit of company growth and profits, any bit of labor that can be automated by machines and technology will eventually be so. Machines don't fight for better contracts. They don't get tired. They aren't regulated to work a certain number of hours. They aren't paid. Humans are just labor with a consciousness. And to replace those humans with machines, well, again, that's just good business. The people that have their jobs replaced by advancing technology, they go straight into that ever-present pool of the unemployed. Then there's seasonal work, which is great for people in that unemployment pool, But when you're desperate, you'll take what you're given. Seasonal work has had its wages kept low because it's so appealing to the people who need work the most. The best bits? Because you aren't paying people full-time as a company, they don't need to receive benefits like healthcare and retirement account matching. Don't forget, healthcare is, for most people, tied to their paychecks of full-time employees. Seasonal and part-time work hinders people from receiving benefits that could save them from crippling medical debt, or just being cautious and willing to visit a doctor for concerns. If you cut down the amount of those that are classified as full-time employees, you save on benefits. Capitalists have monetized everything in life that they are able to, down to water, which we literally need to survive. Turning everything for profit has very real and dangerous consequences, both on a social society and environmentally. There are plenty of products that are simply causes of injury, such as tobacco, alcohol, and guns, all of which are huge markets in the economy. But that's not where it stops. We can choose not to smoke, not to drink, not to have guns. We have these choices. But what about the choices we don't have? Pesticide residues, nitrogen runoffs, contaminating waste. There are forever chemicals and forever plastics all across the globe now. Entire sections of the ocean are void of oxygen, and all life that depends on it, because of our soil fertilization techniques. All for the sake of profits. These detrimental effects to the environment affect humans in a way that will produce individuals in poverty. If we observe that communities contaminated with nuclear waste have a higher chance of cancer or genetic defects, and that many individuals with cancer or genetic defects are unfit to work in a capitalistic model, they are deemed for poverty. They don't win in this scenario in any sense. Depleted uranium and spent munitions across Iraq leads to a similar situation. Climate change affected by fossil fuel emissions have had big impacts on droughts in India and across the world, starving people and leaving them without income. The wildfires that ravage through the globe yearly, such as in Australia or California, have similar effects. Loss of life, loss of resources, loss of our main asset to sell in capitalism, our labor, our bodies. Another bit of cud to chew on here. Northern California has had no help maintaining control over wildfires. The company that provides most of the electricity there, PG&E, have contributed to numerous fires due to major infrastructure issues and a lack of company spending on maintenance and improvement. But don't worry, their CEO is only making $2.5 million annually. So he's feeling a big squeeze on his quality of life from all of that. That's capitalism, baby. The capitalist mode of production is indifferent to the social consequences of the commodities it produces. Barbara Harris White. Capitalism is not a solution to poverty. Big surprise, huh? Capitalism creates poverty. It's part of the system as a whole. And looking at the poverty rate in America, it's clearly an issue. The methods used in the system to perpetuate constant growth of profits do not care about the environment, about the effects on society as a whole, only that sweet, barbecued bottom line. That lack of care has real consequences for massive amounts of people who are forced into poverty and unemployment, or in the best case scenario, surviving in a system where one small thing could mean losing the roof over your head and knowledge of where your next meal would come from. There is rampant fear and overworking at the lower ends of the labor class that keeps people from fighting for change. And perhaps you're a capitalist yourself. Is that winning? If you're the 1%, I'm not sure why you're here, but I sure hope you step in cow on your way out, you filthy animal. That's this episode of Congruent Coo. Take care of yourselves and have a wonderful day.